Country Life on Midlands 103. Brought to you by W. Orshaw, Burlington Business Park, Tullamore. Supplier of New Holland's tractors in the Midlands. worshaw.ie.
Now, good evening and welcome to Country Life here on Midlands 103. It's MJ Clery with you until 8 p.m. this evening, bringing you the latest from the Midlands and further afield from the worlds of agriculture, food and agri-business. Thank you for joining me as always this evening. It's Wednesday, 22nd of July 2026. We're going to start in a moment with the weather. It is the topic on all farmers' lips at the moment. Cathal Nolan from Ireland's Weather Channel is going to give us an update on what will hopefully be news of rain over the weekend. Also, Teresa Roach from the IFA is going to join me with a word on Farm Safety Week. It's running this week. Later in the programme, labour on farms is often a talking point here on the programme, and robotics are one of the solutions to this problem. There's an open day on the farm of Michael and Kevin Fagan in Glasson in County Westmeath tomorrow. Niall McGorn is from Lely. He's going to be chatting about that. And also we have farmer Kevin Fagan who's going to join me to speak about what it's like to actually operate a robot and to have it working on your farm. Himself and his dad have had it for years and years now, so we're going to hear that as well a little bit later on in the programme. Ossory Show takes place this coming weekend on Sunday. Leishman Peter Ging will give us the details, and the Irish Grassland Association, they have their annual beef event. It's tomorrow week, Thursday, 30th of July. Westmeath man Paddy Casey will be chatting about that. It takes place on the farm of a pedigree Charlie breeder this year. And again, look, grass and grassland management, just such an important topic now during this drought spell. And it's something we will be focusing on over the course of the hour. Weanling sales are just around the corner, and Animal Health Ireland are holding a series of demos to ensure that your weanlings are in the best health possible in advance of autumn sales. Eilish Gill from AHI is going to chat about these events a little bit later. There's four of them taking place all over the country, and we're going to hear the details on those. Now, as always, text or WhatsApp the show with your comments, thoughts or questions to 083 30 10 103. We are starting with weather, and we have Cathal Nolan on the line. Cathal, I'm always only speaking to you when farmers are in dire straits, and I think that's where we're at the moment.
It certainly is, MJ. Look, we haven't seen rainfall across many parts of the Midlands since the end of June, since we saw those thunderstorms taking place at the end of June. So for July so far, it's been pretty much an exceptionally dry month. Now, it's come off the back of pretty dry conditions during the month of June, aside from those showers on some occasions. So really, you could say that summer 2026 so far has been exceptionally dry. We're starting to see the impacts of that now, with soil moisture deficits in the Midlands up at around about 60 to 70 millimetres in places. And as we've reached that threshold, it means that we're starting to see an impact in terms of grass growth conditions, the scorching of the ground itself in some places too. Really, over the course of the next little while, for the next, let's say, 7 days in general, there's not a tremendous amount of rain forecast for the Midlands. There will be a little bit of mist or drizzle perhaps on Saturday, but it's not really going to alleviate conditions to any great extent. It's probably into the start of August before we see any more significant rain on the horizon. At that point in time, it looks like our winds may start to swing around more to a southwesterly direction, and that could mean a more humid source. Still very warm, but with extra rain at that point.
Yeah, and can we, look, I never like to ask questions like this, Colin, can we be sure of that? We can't be sure of anything really when it comes to the weather, but is it likely?
It's increasingly likely is what we can say. So the weather models in general are starting to come together on this notion or on this idea that we will see more unsettled conditions. When we say unsettled, we mean that the jet stream is expected to push a little bit further to the south than it has done, and that brings areas of low pressure closer to the west coast. Now, some of those areas of low pressure will bring increased instability, so the potential for some heavy showers or downpours, and also some of those will lead to weather fronts pushing in across the country as well. So that would lead to an increase in rainfall. Overall, what we can say is that for the next 7 to 10 days, generally speaking, rainfall amounts in the Midlands will be below average to well below average, but thereafter it looks as though we will see an increase in precipitation at that stage, something that is very much welcome at that point in time.
Yeah, so a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Carl, I often hear this, and I suppose you're the man to answer it really. People would say it rains the same amount every year. We might get it front-loaded, we might get a drought, we might get some at the end. Is that the case? Do we, on average, get a similar amount of rainfall year on year?
Year on year, let's say, I wouldn't necessarily agree with it. There is that old saying that nature has a way of balancing itself out. We've seen periods of time throughout the course of Irish meteorology where we've had exceptionally dry periods lasting for 3, 4, 5 years. Even there's been decadal periods where we've seen below average rainfall. And then there, of course, have been periods more frequently than not where we've seen above average precipitation levels in many parts of the country. But in general, I suppose there is a little bit of a rule of thumb that it does try and balance itself out. It may not be over the course of a year, but in general, it does try and balance itself out over time. The difficulty is that of late, what we've seen is that we're increasingly going from very dry spells of weather into particularly wet spells of weather. So the extremes that we're seeing are becoming a little bit more enhanced, and it's getting harder to balance those two out without there being these necessary extremes within the middle. So that would be kind of our line of thought, and certainly in a scientific point of view as well. It certainly seems to be that we're getting what is called, this term is weather whiplashing, where we see these transitions between very hot to cooler conditions, from very wet to very dry conditions occurring more frequently.
Yeah, I think all farmers would agree with you on that, Carl. I often speaking to farmers, and that's exactly what farmers say now. It's a world of extremes. It's it's all or nothing, and the science is backing that up as well. Carl, let's say many thanks for joining me. Look, you're giving us what I will say is some good news there. It's on the horizon, and thanks for speaking to us here on the programme.
A pleasure, MJ. Thanks very much.
Cathal Nolan there from Ireland's Weather Channel. You can log on to Facebook and you can have a look at Cathal's weather forecast predictions and whatnot there on Facebook under Ireland's Weather Channel. Now, Farm Safety Week, and Teresa Roach from the IFA is joining me. Teresa, many thanks for taking my call this evening.
Thank you, MJ. Delighted to talk to you. You're
more than welcome, Teresa. So look, it's Farm Safety Week. We're talking about farm safety very regularly here in the programme. I would say once every couple of months we bring it up and we chat about it. And it's a message we're very willing to put out there to the farming community, because it's just something we have to be so cognizant of at all times. It is Farm Safety Week. A little bit of an overview, please, if you will, Teresa.
Thank you. Yeah, so this year is our 14th year in collaboration with the Yellow Wellies and the UK. So there's over 500 partners between the UK, Northern Ireland and Scotland. So I suppose what we're trying to say is there's a great message that we need, and we thank you also, MJ, for highlighting this on your show. So it's all about, taking the time to reflect and to pause and to make the commitment to making your farm safe to work, but it's also one of the most important industries across our own country in relation to how economical it is, but it's also a hazardous place to work. And I suppose unfortunately in 2025 we had 23 fatalities on farms, and what that's, them fatalities are a loved one, a neighbour, a family member or a child that we have lost due to a farm accident. And that is, that leaves a huge, huge loss to a community as well. That is, fundamentally, a huge change forever. And what we're trying to say is, over the last number of years, we do have statistically, it's shown that vehicles and machinery have been the leading cause of farm fatalities, claiming over 72 lives, while 36 people have lost their lives in livestock-related incidents. And we also know that 75% of all farm fatalities involved people over the age of 55. So the older vulnerable farmer is severely at risk, and we're asking people, and older farmers, that they need to make adjustments to their work practices and to make sure they avoid injuries as much as possible. And we do know farmers, we have to respect that farmers, the average age of a farmer is 59. Farmers are a vulnerable industry, and they also, working alone, they need to, I suppose, change their focus and to adjust their farm methods to suitable workloads that they're doing. So we do know, as we age as well, it can impact on your strength, your endurance, your flexibility, your vision, your hearing, and sometimes your balance as well. So that can be also affect you when you're when you're doing your work every day with machinery, even the use of a quad bike. We do know that there's been a number of fatalities related to quad bike accidents as well. So when you're This year alone, there's been 42 deaths in 4 years and 30 under the age of 18. So it's, danger with passengers, carrying passengers with unbalanced or excessive loads on the back can impact, or being on a slope, especially being on slopes and at speed. So legislation says as well, we have legislation around quad bikes where you need to wear a helmet and you need to be certified under the QQI level 5 and for quad bike certification. So that training course has to be under a registered provider, and you have to avoid carrying passengers and maintaining a proper seat, and to be cautious on uneven terrain as well. So I suppose what I'm trying to say is the older vulnerable farmer is more predisposed, and we're really focusing about the vulnerability of the older farmer, the age profile, and also about, I suppose, the working alone, isolated industry, and also being under severe pressure. I suppose no matter what, if the weather's hot and we've had a great climate this summer, it's affecting, I suppose, we're under pressure with work, trying to deliver, getting silage and hay bales in. And I suppose what we're trying to say is it's just important to slow down and to look after yourself both mentally and physically and emotionally. And we do know mental health of farmers is really important as well, and to highlight that, to seek help if you're in trouble or if you know someone that's in trouble, and to get some support.
Teresa, I'm going to say many thanks for chatting to us here, giving us a great rundown there on all the different aspects of farm safety. And look, we're hoping that the message just permeates into people as they listen. Thanks, Teresa, and we'll chat to you again here in the programme.
Well, thank you, MJ. Thank you.
Teresa Roach there from the IFA, and it is, as we say, Farm Safety Week this week. I'm just looking at the flyer here in front of me that the IFA have done for Farm Safety Week, and there's a few different aspects of it, but one of those is quad bikes. Teresa did allude to it there, and I just think quad bikes are one of the most dangerous pieces of equipment you will have on a farm. You really just need to know what you're doing. They're so powerful, they can be turned over so easily. I was on a farm a couple of weeks back, and I know there is a big price difference between a gator and a quad bike, but if you could at all, if you are using one and you could stretch to the gator, not alone does it have a roof and it has a door in it, you're not out in the elements, but it's so much safer. And I really feel like, in time, gators just will become more and more popular on farms if farmers have time and use for a little four-wheeler like that. Lastly, as well, children. I'm seeing that 100% of child fatalities involved farm vehicles. So, the worst thing that can happen on a farm is an accident, and the worst thing again is anything to do with children. So children should not be allowed unsupervised access to the farmyard. That's just red line. You can't let children to a farmyard unsupervised. And here's one that I didn't know, and I've been guilty of contravening it. Under no circumstances should a child under 7 years of age be carried inside the cab of a tractor. So 7 is the year that children can start to be carried inside of a tractor. It's one we can all take something from on that. Now, coming up after the break, we're going to be speaking to Peter Ging from Ossory Show, and also Paddy Casey from the Irish Grassland Association. There's an event coming up next week. Stay tuned for that.
Country Life on Midlands 103.
With W.R. Shaw, family owned and serving the Midlands since 1982, we're Ireland's largest independent agri-dealer, specialising in New Holland tractors and parts. With over 40 years' experience, we provide top quality sales, service and support. Visit W.R. Shaw in Tullamore and Carlow, or online at wrshaw.ie.
And you're very welcome back to Country Life here on Midlands 103. Now, in a moment, Paddy Casey from the Irish Grassland Association will be chatting to us about their beef event next week. But first, Peter Ging from the Ossory Show is joining us. Peter, many thanks for taking my call this evening.
Welcome, MJ.
Busy in advance of the show, Peter, as always this time of the year. Look, we'll chat about it in a moment, but first, as people will be well aware, your dairy farming, County Laois, grass situation is very challenging for farmers up and down the country. How are you faring out on your own farm, Peter?
Well, we got very dry, and we have a small bit of grass, but it's very dry. But we're feeding, we're buffer feeding as well. Like sometimes drawing in grass, and more times feeding maize.
Yeah, and you're continuing your rotation as normal, are you, Peter? But obviously it's a lot less than it was.
We're continuing as normal. Yeah, our rotation is about 23 days, and we're continuing that.
You're also involved in the Holstein Frisian Association. You had your big event on, was it last week down in Cork, Peter, or 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, yes, last week down in Cork, yes. It was a big event, great herd of cows, plenty of stands, plenty of stuff to see, so it was a very good day. A huge crowd at it as well, about 4,000 people at it.
Yeah, how was the mood among the farmers there, given, I suppose, milk prices, you'd like it to be a bit stronger, weather now is challenging as well. What form were farmers in, dairy farmers?
Well, farmers seem to be in reasonably good form. I suppose we probably haven't hit the pinch, like till the end of the year, till there's a lot of bills to be paid, with the price. Like last year was a great year, so we'll be back this year, so it probably hasn't hit a lot of farmers yet till come back to the end of the year, till tax crowds come in and all the rest of it,
Yeah, it's a fair point. All right, look, and hopefully we did a weather segment here at the start of the programme. There is rain coming, so hopefully it's going to come sooner rather than later. Moving on to the show, Peter, you join us every year to speak about the Ossory Show, very popular show here in the Midlands, and you're getting ready to go, all guns blazing. You don't run out of steam at this time, Peter, any year when you're doing all the organising yourself and the committee. It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, I suppose, for one day, but look, we enjoy it. And it's like this, if you don't put it on, sure, if we let it go, sure, it's gone for good, so we have to work away. And the committee are small, but we have an awful lot of people come in to help, which is great. We have a lot of young people coming in now. We're some Mockra people coming, which is great as well,
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, look, a community endeavour, and it gets people together and gets people working, helping one another out. For the show then this coming weekend, Peter, I'll let you give us a little bit of a rundown on what people can find if they go to Ossory on Sunday.
Well, I suppose the first thing you'll see inside the gate is probably is our sheep is on and then we have a new class this year. It's our young shepherd handler class. So that should be interesting to see. But it's a bit like the handler classes in the beef and in the dairy as well, much the same. With crafts, of course, and flowers and everything else in the big shed we have. And we also have catering there if anybody wants to come and have their lunch. Sit down and have their lunch and go and look at the show then. We have vintage combines cutting corn, with the horses, of course, all the horse classes, cattle classes, a lot of All-Irelands in the cattle classes. And then we have also tractor pulling, which we had for the last couple of years. Now, that has seen a big interest in that for the last number of years. There has been anyway. We have a huge amount of trade stands entered this year, a lot bigger than any other year. Of course, we have all the stuff for children and different things, and we'll have ice cream and you name it, we'll have it on the show. We also have tractor, how was I going to say?
Just on your earlier point, Peter, you mentioned the young shepherd handling class. That's an interesting one I haven't come across before. Look, we often do pieces about young handlers, and look, shows are about the next generation and about the youth, but just the shepherd angle and the sheep angle of it, that's an interesting one. Is that something you come up with yourselves, or is it from another show, or where did that come from?
No, it has started last, I think, 1 year or 2 years going, but it's run by the ISA, which is the Irish Show Society run it. And we have applied for this year, and we have it this year. So we'll hope we'll be able to hold on to it for a few years. Like, it will probably will move around, but we have it this year. So it'll be interesting. Like, it's simply a big drawer. So it'll be interesting to see that now. And it'll be nice to see the young people handling sheep, and they have to answer a number of questions then on how to rear them and all the rest of it, and how you judge them and all that.
Absolutely. Did a piece here a few weeks ago just on exactly that, on trying to attract young people into sheep farming and how the numbers are nose diving. Of course, this coming Sunday sees a big game of football taking place. Peter, we've Mayo Kerry All-Ireland football final Sunday. Will you have a screen there, ability to watch it?
Yeah, we'll have a screen there for people to watch it. I'd like to watch it myself as well. I think it could be an interesting game. Yeah,
very good. Well, I'm gonna put you on the spot now, Peter. You're gonna have to call it there. Who's going to get the win on Sunday now, Mayo or Kerry?
Well, my heart says Mayo, but I think it'll be Kerry.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people would be probably of the same opinion as that. Yeah. Peter, I'm just out of time, so I'll just say many thanks for joining me here on the show this coming Sunday, Ossory Show. Look, you're going to get a big turnout, as you always do. Thanks for speaking to us here on the programme, and we'll chat to you again.
Thank you, MJ.
Peter Ging there from Ossory Show, as we said, taking place this coming Sunday. Now, moving across to an event that's taking place next week. It is being run by the Irish Grassland Association, with Paddy Casey from the association having a word with us. Now, Paddy, many thanks for taking my call this evening.
Thanks, MJ. and thanks for having us on the air.
You're more than welcome, Paddy. Look, as I spoke with Peter and we're talking about the weather and we're talking about grass and we're talking about farmers being stressed with a lack of grass, it is an opportune time for a grassland walk. Like, farmers are really struggling at the moment. It's not going to change between now and this time next week. So it will be a good time for farmers to attend the event and even just chatting about their own situations and what to do from a grassland perspective.
Absolutely, MJ. Yeah, no, we're looking forward to welcoming a big crowd to Mount Nugent in County Cavan, to Savannah Miners Farm. And I think it should be a very interesting evening. And as you say, the situation on grass currently obviously will be a topic there. We'll be discussing how grass is managed on Sabina's farm and obviously lots of other things alongside. But yeah, it should be a very interesting evening.
Yeah, the one thing that's a little bit different maybe with this event, Paddy, is the fact that it's on a pedigree Charlie herd, which will garner interest in its own right. Regardless of the grassland element, people are going to be interested in going to have a look at the stock. And then you have all the grassland element on it as well. You're looking at breeding, you're looking at the females, you're looking at how these cattle kill out, fleshing ability of the cows, you're looking at rotational grazing, herd health planning, paddock and grazing infrastructure. So there is a huge amount on offer here.
Absolutely, yeah. I suppose first and foremost, it's a commercial herd, a commercial suckler herd, albeit a pedigree herd and 90 pedigree suckler cows. So it's a big herd in its own right, and it's all AI as well, which is going to make it extremely interesting. And I suppose the other fact about it's been managed by one labour unit. Savannah herself looks after the whole lot, with a small bit of help from her brother and her husband when he's around as well. So there's going to be a massive focus, an awful lot to see, and hopefully something useful for someone to take home, whether it's, as you said, it's on the stock or the grasslands or even the whole health plan that's adopted on the farm, and of course the buildings and the handling unit, because obviously with only one labour unit on the farm, handling is very, very important from a safety and from a point of view of getting through stock, in a timely fashion. So there's a lot of work going on the farm, and the evening itself hopefully will be able to give people a flavour of how Savannah runs the farm.
Yeah, you alluded to it there, Paddy, but you said evening. So what time does the event kick off? Thursday, 30th of July?
Yeah, so we kick off at 6 o'clock sharp with a burger for people that come early. But we will be starting the walk at 6:30 because it'll be a good bit to get through. Look, the event we sort of plan, we'll give an overview on the first stop on the farm, and that'll give you an idea of the farm. It's in 3 different blocks, so it's not just a simple farm to manage either, with 3 different farm blocks, and you'll see sort of how the blocks are laid out. It's all in paddocks. There's 57 paddocks on the farm as a whole.
Wow.
We'll move on to a sort of a stand on the grass and how she grows grass, and then how it's utilised with water and roadways and so on. You'll see all that on the farm. And following on from that, then we have a stand on the whole genetics piece, which obviously with the pedigree side of it, and the AI, and what she's using and the type of cow that's there. The average weight of the Charlie cow that she has on the farm is over 700 kilos. So I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in that, and how she's managing to get a calving interval of just under 370 days in a pedigree herd on one side of it. But certainly the fact that it's all AI, it's a massive achievement. So I think something there for everyone, and there will be opportunity then to see the autumn-born calves, because this is a split herd, 70% calved in the autumn and 30% in the spring. So you'll see the spring calving herd on the farm, but you'll also see the autumn-born bulls and heifers from last autumn, or they'll be just coming a year old, and you'll be able to see the type of stock that will be there, and we'll have some performance figures on how they've done as well. So there's a huge amount to see, MJ, on the evening, and hopefully we'll get a big turnout like we did down in Roscrea last year.
Yeah, I think you could start that at about 8 o'clock in the morning, Paddy. You could do the whole day up there. It sounds extremely interesting. I'm just out of time, Paddy. It's 6 p.m. It's Thursday, 30th of July. Can people, do they need to book online, or can they just log onto your website, see the address and go?
Exactly. So look, it's an open event, open to all beef farmers. All the details are on the website, the air code and so on. So if they log on to the Irish Grassland Association website, you get all the details, and everyone is welcome.
Lovely stuff. Many thanks for joining us, Paddy.
Thanks, MJ.
Paddy Casey there from the Irish Grassland Association, and what a lot there is on offer there. All AI, 90 Charlie pedigree suckler cows, and the average cow weight over 700 kg. That is a proper herd, proper suckler herd. Now, it'll be interesting to see those. Now, coming up after the break, we're moving across to dairy and to robots. We have Niall McGauran from Lely in County Westmeath, and Kevin Fagan is the farmer whose farm, the open day, is taking place on tomorrow. He is from Glasson, so we're going to hear about that in just a moment.
Country Life on Midlands 103.
Brought to you by W.R. Shaw, where New Holland isn't just a brand, it's our passion. For over 40 years, we've been Ireland's trusted name for New Holland tractors, parts and farm machinery. Whether you need new, used or ex-hire tractors, we've got you covered. wrshaw.ie.
And you're welcome back to Country Life here on Midlands 103. Now, as I said before the break, we're moving on to dairy and that of robots. And we have a farm walk tomorrow taking place in Glasson. So we have Niall McGauran from Lely and Kevin Fagan, who is the farmer. I'm going to start with Niall. Niall, many thanks for taking my call this evening.
You're welcome, MJ.
So, Niall, I could say that maybe you can predict the future, Niall, because you're at these robots a long time. In the last couple of years, we've heard more about robots being in the news for working for automation, be it for commercial, for farming, for you name it. But yet you're at it years and years. You must be kind of sitting pretty now, Niall, saying to yourself, look, I knew this was the way it was going to turn out.
Well, look, hey, I was probably lucky in a previous life. I worked abroad quite a bit. And I've seen robotic milking, and I felt there would be an opportunity. But look, we're 14 years in business, MJ. So we're
yeah, 14,
time.
Wow.
We started in 2012, so like there's 60 people working out in Mullingar now, and we're looking after over 800 robots. So we've learned a lot over the years, but yeah, it's getting busier. There's no doubt about it. If anyone out there is interested in being an ag engineer, we have about 6 positions to fill in the next 12 months. So there's big demand out there, and like the likes of tomorrow, the open day tomorrow is just to help cater for the interest, because a lot of people want to understand, MJ, how the system works, especially in a grazing situation.
Yeah, and I suppose, look, isn't that it, really, Niall? Information, and people want to see it and want to see it work, and that's what something like this is so good for. You can go and you can see the systems working, but you can also chat to the farmers. Look, I'm going to be talking to Kevin in a moment, but that's the real USP with these. Like, it's all well and good listening. I'm not saying, Niall, but salespeople want to sell. It's great to talk to the farmer who will tell you how it actually works.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Like this, the guys are at it 12 years, and we're going to be... Look, everyone kind of accepts now, MJ, the robot will milk the cows. There's no fear around that anymore. What people are more concerned about, how does it manage a grass? Well, how do the cows come in? Is my grass going to be utilised? Is the system going to cost me much to run? So tomorrow, it's a great opportunity for people to walk the farm, see the setup, hear what the costs were like, see what the financials were, and hear about the guys' great results, because the Fagans actually an award-winning farm with a Revo, and people will understand how that came to be.
Yeah, I was speaking with James Farrell from IFAC last week, and we're talking about how AI is going to affect their business and professional services in general. And no doubt, Niall, because your business is a tech business, AI is going to have a huge effect on it. Are you seeing much of an influence of AI yet, or is it at the start, the burgeoning of it, and do you feel it's going to make these machines better?
Well, look, it does help make things more efficient. I suppose the real benefit of AI in our business is the likes of the Lely robot is harvesting a huge amount of information. And the way we use AI is to help make it easier for the farmer to use that information to make better decisions. You know, there's a lot of things being measured. We don't want to blind people with too much information. Just kind of use it to help it be analysed in such a way that it makes it easier for the farmer to make better decisions. So it's not that the robot is just saving the farmer a lot of time around milking. It's giving them a lot of information, and using AI help them make better use of that information. When
you're talking then, farmers are wondering about what type of farm it suits. Farmers have in their head maybe that a robot is only suited to a farmer who has a nice square block of land all in the one parcel, and you plop it right in the middle, and that's the way it works. Is that true, or can it be done on differing types of holdings?
MJ, it's harder to set it up, the grazing system, if the yard is plonked straight in the middle, believe it or not.
Right.
The majority of our customers, the yard is like a stamp on an envelope. The yard is next to the road, and farms can tend to be, relatively long. The longest we have anyone walking cows is about 2 kilometres. I can't remember exactly how far Kevin's cows walk, but up to 2 kilometres, we've no issue with grazing. And the majority of our clients are spring calving and grass based. We do have a number that will be indoor, but the majority of robots in the Midlands of Ireland are spring calving grass based.
I'm going to let you go now. I'm going to move across to Kevin, but just before I do, for tomorrow, it's starting at 12 and it's on the farm of Kevin and his father, Micheál Fagan in Glasson. Do people need to book online or can they just turn up?
No, well, look, we're going to have... It's open to all. It's a great opportunity to see what's happening. It's from 12 to 2, so there's four different little workshops going on. If people send us a text, we have lunch at the end of it, so if you book in, at least you get a bit of grub. If you haven't booked, we might run out, but it's open to all, so we're happy to see whoever's interested.
Very good. Many thanks for joining us, Niall, and I'm going to move across now to Kevin. Kevin, many thanks for speaking to me on the programme here this evening.
No problem, MJ. How's it going?
Going good, Kevin. And I'm looking at a picture of yourself and your dad here on this piece of PR. And you look to be a very happy dairy farmer, I have to say, in this picture. The grass is green behind you, the sky is blue, and you're not looking like a man who has been milking morning, evening and noon, I suppose, because you haven't. Is that the case, Kevin? Does the robots make life a lot easier?
Yeah, sure. Look, I suppose we're 12 years in it now at the moment, so we're well used to the system. We weren't previously milking before that, so I didn't know the hardship that everyone goes through with a parlour. But look, it suits us really well. The cows will milk themselves, and the robots, they'll work away. It's down to the farmer how quick they get used to it, and how well they get used to the system. And it takes a long time to get used to, but it's a brilliant system. When you're well used to it, yeah. It's a great system for us. Look, I'm working off farm as well. Dad's full time at home. It works brilliant for both of us.
Yeah, I think that's a big one, though, Kevin. Look, you're a young man, 30 years of age here, and you're not stuck at home dairy farming morning, as I said, morning and evening, as a lot of younger dairy farmers are, and it can lead to, issues of becoming browned off of it after years and years. Like, that's not going to happen with you. You have your off-farm employment, you're out and about, and then you're still farming. If you will, it's the best of both worlds.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Look, I was back in Leaving Cert, and we decided to do this in 2012, and that was a question when Dad put it to me, what do you want to do long term? And I knew I always wanted to work off farm as well, so that was massively down to that was the decision we made at the time, and it's worked out brilliantly from that. Look, I knew I didn't want to be stuck milking cows 6 a.m, 4 p.m, latched to the farm every day. It gives you that massive flexibility that if I have to go to a match or whatever, I can get stuff done in the morning and be back there that evening, whatever time to get the rest done. So it does give you that massive flexibility, yeah.
Yeah, and in relation, I suppose farmers will be asking you this when they're tomorrow, when it comes to labour and like an average day then on the farm, say it's summertime and you're off school and you're about moving paddocks and keeping an eye on cows and ensuring everything is running smoothly. Like, how does your day look?
Yeah, well, look, I'm off now on summer holidays, so it's both of us here this time of year, both of us on farm the whole time. So look, it's not a case during the springtime. It's a big difference where you're trying to get over helping with calving and all that while I'm still in school working. But look, at this time of year, it's a lovely time. It's mostly to do with grassland management. The cows will milk away themselves. It's literally a case of 20 minutes in around the robots, doing a little bit of maintenance, cleaning. It's mainly down to grassland management. And obviously, at the moment, you were saying there about loads of green grass behind me. It's not the same at the moment.
Yeah, unfortunately.
An awful lot. So.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and that's the way it lands. So, look at grass utilisation is massive. Trying to get the most out of it is a big thing too. And whatever we produce, whatever we make on the farm, we try and bale it. We try and put it into pit. And it's really about getting max grass out of the system as well to keep the cows happy, and they'll keep milking away. It's just about trying to keep the grass in front of them.
And look, my last question is nothing really to do with the robots, but you did allude to it there. You are working as a teacher, so you're off this time of the year, but springtime is your busiest time, same as every farm in the country. You must be a busy man trying to balance it all now in the height of the spring. Do you find it stressful? How do you do a work balance at that time of the year?
Yeah, look, it's the spring is the big time, really. Like, I'm lucky there. I scouted one of my students to come and work at the weekends and help us during calving season, and that's a big help too. We try and always have someone else extra there for the weekends or even during the evenings to feed calves. But yeah, look, it's very busy that time of year, but the rest of it can easily be run by. We're milking 127 cows. One labour unit is loads there, especially this time of the year, and just the busy time for them 2-3 months in spring is really when the 2 full labour units is really needed. But it does give you that massive flexibility from a labour point of view to be able to do something like work off farm and have someone there as well. Yeah,
absolutely. Kevin, look, many thanks for joining me here on the programme. People get to chat to you tomorrow, and we will speak to you again here some stage in Country Life. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, MJ.
Kevin Fagan there and Niall McGorn, and that is taking place tomorrow, Thursday, from 12 to 2. And if you pop on there to the Lely, have lots of different social media pages. You can see the details of it. It's in Glasgow. It'll be signposted as well. You won't go wrong if you get there. And look, the robots could be something for you or it could not be something for you. It really just depends on you, your mentality, what you're looking to get out of it. Obviously significant investment in relation to it. And I was speaking to a farmer the other day who went into robots not too long ago, and he said he's buying a number of years' labour in advance, and that's the way some people look at it. And it really just depends. But go out and have a chat and see what you think of it tomorrow if it's something of interest. Now, coming up after the break, we're going to be talking to Eilish Gill. She's from Animal Health Ireland, and they are running a series of demos on how to keep your weanlings nice and healthy in advance of autumn sale. Stay tuned.
Country Life on Midlands 103
with W.R. Shaw. Looking for the best in farm machinery? We've been supplying top quality New Holland tractors and parts and providing service since 1982. Our expert team is here to keep your farm running smoothly with branches in Tullamore and Carlow. Visit wrshaw.ie today.
And you're welcome back to Country Life here on Midlands 103. Now, AHI running events, Weanling Ready, worth their weight in gold. That's what it's entitled. And we have Eilish Gill from AHI. She's going to tell us about it now for the next few moments. Eilish, many thanks for taking my call this evening.
MJ, thanks for having me on. So I work for AHI, Animal Health Ireland. We're delighted to host Weanling Ready, worth their weight in gold series. So these are a series of free events for farmers to attend, being held in Elphin, Carnaross, Gorshclay and Ennismertz in the next few weeks. So we'll be joined by AHI vets and our local vets on the night. These events have been supported by AIB, who will also be there on the night to give a short talk about their offerings, and we'll also be joined by the market managers who can give a little bit of insight what's going on in the ground and their end of the world. So these events are aimed at farmers selling, buying or producing weanlings.
Yeah, and you ran them last year, Eilish, and it proved quite successful. And I suppose the weanling side of things isn't a million miles away. I know we're July, but we won't feel autumn sales occurring. And really it is about ensuring that weanlings are thriving to their utmost and in a fit state then to be sold.
Absolutely. It's like the proof is in the pudding last year that the weanlings were worth their weight in gold. So what can we do this year to get that extra 10 to 15% out of them? We're in one of the top areas in the country for producing quality calves. We see it all the time. Like, I'm a suckler farmer myself. I know the crack, the slaving during calving season, the sleepless nights, the hardship, all to try and get these calves in the ground. So we want these calves to thrive on and be in the best of health. And the last thing anyone wants is to lose a calf or to see a calf failing. So weaning is a particularly stressful time for the calf. Look, I'm sure you'd be stressed out too if the milk bar closed, but it leaves them at risk. Their immunity tends to drop, so they can be at risk for the likes of pneumonia outbreaks, or if a worm outbreak could hit them quite hard, this can impact performance massively. So on the night, we're offering practical advice regarding the likes of vaccination, parasite control, pre-housing tips. It's a great time and a great opportunity to ask questions. It's brilliant to have the local vets on board to give insight as to what they're seeing on the ground in each area, so it's actually relevant to the local farmer that's coming. There's many factors that go into producing a quality calf, such as nutrition and good breeding, but underlying it all, we would be nowhere without good health management.
Is there one thing you see, Ailish, in your job with Animal Health Ireland that maybe farmers should do and aren't doing? Something that you would constantly say, oh, if they just made this decision, it would be far more beneficial for their herd?
Yeah, see, I'm a farmer, I'm not a vet. Most of AHI is actually predominantly made up of vets, but I work in the parasite control side of the house for AHI. So what I'm doing with farmers is nearly looking at everything but the dose. So what can they be doing, little small tips and tricks to be keeping an eye on things. And like, you know yourself, it could be bringing cattle in and the hardship of that, and then you could be given a dose that you won't even need to be given, and that costs you time and money. So even a simple thing like doing a bit more consistent fecal sampling, some farmers might only do it for the schemes, but a fecal sample just once a year is no good to you, because that's only a snapshot of just that one day. So if you're doing another fecal sample in 2 weeks' time or 3 weeks' time, it gives you a better indication what's going on in the animal, because there could be worms in the animal, but they might not be at that adult level yet to produce worms, or to produce eggs, apologies, so it might not come up in the fecal sample. So by doing a little bit more consistent fecal sampling, it just helps you keep an eye on things. Now, it's not a silver bullet. There's no silver bullet in parasite control, unfortunately, such as for your fecal sampling, fantastic and all, it is actually no good for lungworm. So for the likes of lungworm, like we have brilliant dry weather here at the moment, but unfortunately if there's a break in the weather soon, we could see in maybe 2 weeks' time a bit of coughing. So that could be something like wormworm. And it's just something for farmers to keep an eye on. And don't be afraid to talk to your vet at the end of the day. Like, look, that's what they're there for. And they don't want to be coming out to, in a couple of weeks' time, you've calves dropping because they've got a bad dose of lungworm.
These events then, Ailish, that are taking place, they are obviously suckler farmers predominantly part-time, and they're all taking place at 7:30pm in the evening. So suits the individual who's working during the day and can pop then in the evening time or midweek. I suppose the two for ourselves here, Tuesday 28th of July, Elfin, this evening week then in Carnaross, and you also Gertulay down the country, and Ennis. Ennis is of interest to some of our listeners here. Lee Shafley, Westmeath will be popping across to Ennis, picking up replacements and heifers and whatnot for suckler herds. So look, all of them are of interest. If one is there and it suits you, do you need to register a book online, or do you just show up to the event? How does it work?
Nope, just show up to the event. If anyone checks any AHI social media or the Mark social media, or even the relevant vets, so the relevant vets are Emma Lodge, Kinnabad vets, Summerhill vets and Castle vets in Kerry. You'll get more of the information there. Show up. Look, again, great chance to ask questions. Like, even if you might be an expert on ammonia, and that's fantastic, but, you might pick up a thing or two to fine-tune it. It's a chance to get out simple, practical advice that can make improvements to your herd and beyond your gate. So they're free, work away, land in. They're a bit of crack as well. We had brilliant nights last year. Great chance for farmers to get together, particularly for sucker lads. I'm sucker woman myself. I'd love to push them on. So a bit of team biscuit trails and maybe a little bit of a friendly competition for, I guess, the weight.
Yeah, absolutely. Ailish, many thanks for joining me here on the programme. We'll speak to you again here on Country Life. Many thanks.
Thanks very much, Kate. MJ.
Ailish Gill there from Animal Health Ireland, and those events are taking place, as we said, Elfin next Tuesday, Carnaross next Wednesday on Animal Health. That is it for this evening's programme, and I would like to thank all of my guests who joined me here over the course of the last hour. We started off this evening with Cathal Nolan from Ireland's Weather Channel, with Teresa Roach from the IFA. Peter Ging from Osprey Show spoke to us about the show that's taking place on Sunday next. Paddy Casey from the Grassland Association, with a very busy show this evening, actually, I have to say, a lot of guests. Niall McGorn from Lely, and Kevin Fagan about the event tomorrow. And then we had Ailish Gill there from Animal Health Ireland. And I have a couple of minutes left this evening. I purposely left a couple of minutes because I want to give a little mention to Mayo in advance of the All-Ireland final this coming weekend. As you know, big Mayo fans in our house. My wife is a Mayo woman, and my dad was a Mayo man, and he left Mayo in the late 70s and he moved up to County Offaly. And we have two little Mayo supporters in our house now, Jack and Maya, and they have their green and red jerseys on in advance of the big game Sunday. They're trying to get tickets at the moment, and it's go, go, go. But reading a lot of the press at the moment, nobody's giving Mayo a chance. As Peter Ging said earlier, his heart said Mayo, but his head said Kerry. And I suppose that is the thing with Mayo. After losing so many All-Ireland finals over the years, nobody really is giving them a chance. But the thing with sport is, It's about believing, isn't it? And if we look back at some of the seismic events in sport, who would have thought Leicester City were going to win the league at 5,000 to 1, or who thought Offaly were going to win the All-Ireland back in 1994 when they were so far down with a few minutes left in the game. I read an article today about Dara O'Shea from Kerry, and he said it's hard to see anything other than a Kerry win. And everybody thinks that this is going to be the case. I see the bookmakers have Kerry at 3 to 1 on, and they have Mayo at 3 to 1. But in sport, I suppose we have to believe, don't we, that the impossible can occur. Maybe David Clifford won't have his best day at the office. Or maybe young Kobe MacDonald will have the game of his life. Maybe he'll do what his father couldn't do and bring Sam Maguire home for Mayo. Imagine it, 2 points down the last minute. He gets the ball, he scores, and the buzzer goes, and Mayo win by a point. They win the All-Ireland. And imagine the scene, Kobe MacDonald and Kieran MacDonald out on the pitch, father and son embrace. Just imagine it. Well, I'm going to imagine it because I believe, and I think Mayo can do it, this coming weekend. And as they say in that part of the world, I don't give a damn. Mayo for Sam.